What up, y'all? Welcome to AU79 Games. My name's Sam, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I created my Alohomora Auto Solve mod in the Hogwarts Legacy Creator Kit. In the base version of Hogwarts Legacy, if the player wants to open up an Alohomora lock, they're going to need to complete this Alohomora lock minigame. But if the player is on story difficulty, it'll unlock this Auto Solve option in the bottom corner. If the player presses the interact button, it'll automatically complete the minigame and let them open up the lock. For this mod, we're going to set that setting to work for all difficulties, so if the player can interact with any lock, they'll automatically be able to complete it. To create our Alohomora Auto Solve mod, the first thing I'm going to do is create an empty mod. So I'm going to select modding up at the top, select create mod, then I'm going to select a new empty mod and give our mod plugin a name. I'm going to call it Alohomora Auto Solve mod, all one word. Then once I'm ready, I'm going to select create mod. In order to replace the existing Alohomora lock in the base game with our modded Alohomora lock, first thing we're going to do is find this BP Alohomora lock in the creator kit located at content, rigged objects, environment, Alohomora lock, and then this BP Alohomora lock. Then for this mod, we're going to use this BP Alohomora lock as the base, and then edit the blueprint so it triggers auto-solve for story, normal, medium, and hard difficulty. To do this, first thing we're going to do is create a reference to this BP Alohomora lock. So we're going to select in the content browser, and then right-click it, and then select copy reference. Then we're going to navigate back to our mod folder, click in the content browser, and then select Control V to paste our blueprint. And then to make things a little easier, when I add it to the mod mutator, I'm going to rename our modded blueprint. So I'm going to select in the content browser, select F2, then I'm going to add underscore modded to the end of our blueprint. Then we can click our BP Alohomora lock modded to open up our blueprint. Now that we have our blueprint open, we need to find where it checks if the game is on story difficulty. The easiest way I found to do this is to press Ctrl F to open up the Find Results window, and then I'm going to type in story and press enter. This is going to give you a list of everything in this blueprint that contains the word story. So I'm going to find this Get Current Game Difficulty, and then I'm going to double click on this default value story. Then we can see that our blueprint has this custom auto solve event that'll check the current difficulty and then automatically set the puzzle to complete when the player is on story difficulty. For our mod, we want this to happen on all difficulties, so we're going to select it from this switch on E difficulty and then drag all of these options to this set puzzle complete node. Then we're going to repeat this process with the other two nodes in this Find Results window. So we're going to scroll down to the second one. We're going to have another Get Current Game Difficulty, and then we're going to double click on this story value. This section determines what UI elements will appear on screen when the player starts the Alohomora minigame. We can see that it creates two arrays, one specifically for story difficulty, and then a separate array for the other three difficulties. Now we can see here that this array for story difficulty has this extra node that's going to add the AutoSolve UI to the Alohomora minigame. Now in order to make that UI appear for the other difficulties, we're going to set them to be initialized by that same array. So we can see here on switch on E difficulty, the story difficulty array is going to be initialized here, and the other ones are going to be initialized down here. So I'm going to hold the control key, and then I'm going to drag and drop them to all be initialized on the same node. Once those are set, I'm just going to double click everything in this Find Results window and then make sure everything's set up correctly. Then once that's done, I'm going to hit compile and save, and then we can exit out of this blueprint. Then the next thing we're going to do with this mod is create a mod mutator that's going to replace the existing Alohomora lock in-game with a new modded one. So back in our mod folder, we're going to right click in the content browser, select blueprint class, and then I'm going to type in mutator, and then select this mod mutator option. Then I'm going to give this mod mutator a name. I'm going to call it BP underscore mod mutator, and then we'll double click to open up this blueprint. Next up, we're going to set what actor we want to override whenever this mod mutator is ran. So we can do this over here in the details panel. If for some reason you don't see this, you can find it by re-enabling this class default option up at the top. Then in the details panel, we're going to go to user generated content and then find this actor type to override and then press this plus button to add an element. Then we'll click this none drop down. I'm going to type in Alohomora. Then we're going to select the original BP underscore Alohomora underscore lock. The next thing we're going to do is override the original request actor override function. So we can do this in the graphs panel on the left-hand side. We're going to hover over functions, and then we're going to select the override dropdown, and then select the request actor override function. Then a good rule of thumb is make sure you're occasionally compiling and saving the blueprint, just in case the Creator Kit crashes, you won't lose any progress. Then the first thing we're going to do for this function is double checking that the actor is the Alohomora lock. So I'm going to drag off the original actor type and then type in equals and then select this equals class node. Then over here in the select class dropdown, I'm going to type in Alohomora, then I'm going to select this original BP underscore Alohomora underscore lock. Then I'm going to disconnect from this return node and move it out of the way for the meantime. Then I'm going to drag and drop off this equals class node, then I'm going to create a branch node, and then I'm going to hook it up to this request actor override node. Then I'm going to move this return node back close to the other nodes, then I'm going to hook it up to the true pin of the branch node. Then with this return node selected, I'm going to hit Control W to make a duplicate, move it out of the way, and then I'm going to hook it up to the false pin of the branch node. This blueprint's going to check if the requested actor is an Alohomora lock, and if it is, we're going to replace it with our new modded Alohomora lock, and if it's not, we're just going to return the original Alohomora lock. So over here on the true branch, underneath the new widget type, we're going to select the class dropdown. We're going to type in Alohomora, then we're going to select our BP Alohomora lock modded. And then in this false branch, underneath the widget type, we're going to select the class dropdown again, type in Alohomora, and then select the original BP Alohomora lock. Then we can compile and save and then exit out of this blueprint. Then all that's left to do is upload our mods. I'm going to select the upload mod button up at the top. Then for select mod, I have Alohomora Auto Solve, all one word. Then our mod name is going to be how the mod appears in game. So I have Alohomora Auto Solve with spaces in between. Then we uploaded our logo, making sure it was a minimum of 400 pixels with a 1:1 ratio under a 5 megabyte limit. So we made sure it was a square image under 5 megabytes. And then for category, I selected gameplay, and for mod summary, I put Alohomora Auto Solve. Then I went into a little more detail in the mod description and put adds the Alohomora Auto Solve mode for all difficulties. Then once that looks good, I'll select the upload mod button. Then all that's left to do is test our mod in game and make sure everything's working correctly. So I'm going to go to settings and make sure I'm not on story difficulties. So I'll go settings, make sure difficulty set to hard. Then I move down to Upper Hogsfield where I knew there was an Alohomora lock, so we'll interact with this lock. And then we'll check the bottom right, make sure the Auto Solve UI is there. And then I'll press the Auto Solve key, and we'll see it automatically complete the Alohomora minigame. Thanks for watching, and that's going to be it for this video. If you found it helpful, like and subscribe, and consider donating to our Ko-fi page. It'll help a lot and let me make these videos a lot more frequently. Sam, out.